So welcome to another edition of Lama Drives. Von's driving, we have Dr.SLane in the back.
I'm backseat driving.
And we have me in the passenger seat.
Left up here, Von. I know, right.
He's lost, that's why he's in the back. So I guess we'll just do a wrap up of our week at the Tour Down Under. It has been a huge week, on and off the bike, from all different angles. Weather-wise, Slane's kilometer-wise, Von riding-wise, video-wise for me, and a little bit of riding. It's been huge. First of all, kilometer count, Von, for the week?
I'm going to say 380.
380, so that's, you rode every day?
No, I had rest days.
Okay, fair enough. So 380, Slane?
I don't know, about 650, 750, somewhere around there, I think.
How many hours?
28.
28 hours? I don't even know what my numbers are. It was probably about 200 and only about 8 or so hours. Not enough riding, but videos were going well, so more time on videos than riding. But yeah, make hay while the sun shone, and it shone.
There was a lot of shining light. I think one of your best quotes, Shane, was "Everything is a barbecue."
One of my tweets early in the morning was, it's so Australia that everything is a barbecue. Everything was hot to touch.
Yes.
Touching your bike. You know those days where you go outside and everything you touch is hot? Steering wheels in the cars, car seats, your stem on the bike, the top tube gets burning hot.
Yeah, my story works well where I was going down the hill with my carbon brake pads and my carbon rims. And then I stopped because I was scared they were going to heat up too much. But then I touched my top tube and it was just as hot as my rims were. So I was like, oh no, it's just the heat.
Everything is hot. Kind of dangerous too, descending on carbon rims with brake pads like that. They get a bit soggy and the braking performance will degrade or change the quicker you go down. I've had some of my worst descents in Adelaide during the Tour Down Under with a set of carbon rims. I don't think I'll go back to carbon rims until the technology changes there, or we get disc brakes.
Disc brakes.
So tan line check, Von. You're looking. You've sunscreened up really well.
I have made sure I've got a gradulated arm, so that's going quite well. But the leg is quite crisp.
Okay, so you're wearing that with pride. Mine isn't too bad for someone who rides indoors quite a lot. Slane
is full chocky frog.
All year round, milk chocolate, Stephen Lane. So we're never going to ask Slane to do a check. So today we caught the start of the final stage. Final stage is a bit of a procession, just like the Tour de France. Daryl Impey was on equal time with Richie Porte on count back on stages and stage placings. He had the jersey. You'll clear my way, Von. And he held onto the jersey, which was good to see. We caught, it's a bit chaotic in the city. You can't really see much for that final stage. The first stage, or the preview race they held last Sunday, was a better spectacle. Von, your thoughts? You can see more last week.
Last Sunday they held the course on a different course than usual. They changed the route a little bit, which I thought was a fantastic addition. And this time around, in comparison, look, I was a bit hot and bothered in all honesty.
It is very, very hot in the city today.
Yeah.
Slane, you didn't even bother? You caught the start on telly?
Yeah, today, I was staying down the beach and I just stayed down the beach. So I just hung out today.
Yeah, a lot of the time you get a better view from the television, or from the couch, watching the television. So we caught a bit of the action today. Here's some of that action, just walking through the crowd, catching the race start and seeing what goes on. So enjoy a little bit of fly on the wall here.
Yeah, Simon's relished his new role. Now this week, a real super domestique ride by him and all of his team, in fact. Good to be recognised last night as well at the Legends Dinner as a former winner. 4-time winner here. He holds the record along with Robbie McEwen, but Andre's got the opportunity to do number 5 today. This is a brilliant ride. And Alex, he's got a job to do today. He's got an important role to play, hasn't he? The job's not chat to Caleb, if we can. Caleb, it's not broken, so don't fix it. You leave it till the last minute to sign on. You're ready to go today. You've won the last 2 here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having it. We'll start whenever we got again.
So, we'll let you get ready. Last 2 to 3 applause. Here we go. certainly do. What a way to start your career. Neo Coast, first year on the World Tour, and to get a jersey. So you certainly really don't wish him any bad. Today in this race with the Open jersey, the sprint jersey, and the young riders jersey up for grabs. Let us go down. It's all to be played for. Let's down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so we didn't catch the finish line there, but we saw, I guess I can give spoilers, we all know who won. Gripple, the griller sandwich, put the sandwich on the griller. No, can't use that. Okay, we won't go there. Caleb Ewan went from really far back, but the griller, Andre Gripple, a record 18 wins at the Tour Down Under. I don't even think there's been 18 stages all up in the history of the thing, so he's doing really well. So the griller's back early in the season. Now, the griller was running a few weeks back on Strava. He went for a 16k run.
Wow.
So running can't hurt your cycling too much. And that was a brutal week as well. That was a really, really busy week. So Yvonne, you did a lot of riding with the Specialised crew or a few women's rides?
Yeah, I picked and choose my way through the whole of the Tour Down Under options.
Cops up.
And
I think Von's going to get breathalyzed here. We shall see. This is going to be very interesting. Welcome to Lama Live. Von gets breathalyzed.
Yep.
We're pulling over.
I'm going to pretend I'm wasted.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Fantastic. Random breath test. One long continuous breath. Prescribed device. Lifestyle stop. Good job.
Oh, he totally got away from the GoPro.
All good. Drive safe, everybody.
Cheers. Thanks, mate. We'd like to thank Victoria Police for keeping everybody safe on Sunday night on the way back from Tour Down Under. Cameo appearance there from Mr. Plod.
They were in good humour.
They're good sports, they really are. So, all good. So, Yvonne, your women's rides, you picked and choose different groups to bounce around. You weren't officially there in any capacity for any of the organisations or anything like that, like you have been in the past,
Yeah.
but you still had a good week on the bike.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went and checked out the Specialised Chateau.
What is the Chateau? Was that just a shop? Did they?
Essentially, it's a shop
It's a
added
shop.
onto a bar. So
it's not a chateau specialised. Get real. It's a shop.
So in there, you were able to do some test rides of bikes.
Yep.
I wasn't going to do that at the price point that they had there. And then they also had some clothing. So they'd paired up with Black Sheep clothing.
Okay.
And in there, you could purchase kit. One of the things that a few people noted was that you couldn't mix and match sizes of the kit. So if you were a small top, you also had to buy small bottoms, which is a big controversy in the women's side of things because they like to ensure that they
Look, cycling, let's just say it now, I'll cut one short there. Cycling's a jerk off as it is when it comes to fashion. It really is, and I'll say it now, Lama Rants, that's bullshit. Like, seriously, if people want to buy a top or a bottom, let them buy. Don't dictate rules around your product. Specialised, sort your shit out. SLane, how did you go for the group rides? Did you catch any bunches or so, or you had a group of fellas from down at Glenelg there?
Yeah, I learned on day one not to join bunch rides because bunch rides are hectic. So I kept mine pretty small after day one. I only had I stayed with 4 guys, and there probably wasn't much more than that for most of my rides.
But you got some big days in the hills, 130, 120k days in the hills?
Yeah, pretty much all of them were over 100.
Yep.
Just got on good old Strava and mapped out some pretty cool little loops, and then we just followed the Garmin for the day. I kind of know most of the roads. Every time I pop out on one, I'm like, I know where I am now.
Yeah.
And found some little cold little gullies. It was so hot everywhere. It was just nice.
One of the best rides, and we've done this in the past, SLane and I, we rode out Gorge Road, from city out Gorge Road, and as the sun comes up, and I've been talking to a few people I saw in Adelaide about this, the locals all know it, but it's hard to show on video because it's a feeling. That feeling is the coolness of the creek and the cold air of a morning. It was a 30 degree, 40 degree morning or 40 degree day. So things were hot early on, the city was hot, but as soon as you come around some of those corners where the sun hasn't come up on in the valley, it was chilly. It was brilliant. I hit the bottom of Corkscrew with cold arms the other day, but it's in a sweat. It's such a nice, so you can pick and choose your routes based on, as SLane, you found some nice little cold pockets dropping down some valleys.
Is it Little Italy, I think they called it? I had a tour guide one day and he took me through. He's like, yeah, this is called Little Italy. So
cute.
It was kind of nice.
It's really good. Adelaide is brilliant. One criticism I will have, we always say we love Adelaide and for the week, and we had a fantastic week. I think everyone I spoke to has everyone's good riding, it's on holidays, it's good food, it's good coffee. One thing I've picked up on this year though is the traffic in Adelaide is getting busier and busier, even for January. And the stoplights, anybody get pulled up at stoplights for like an excessively long time?
It's kind of like called a sauna light. I think you stop there.
Well, actually, that's probably
for 2 minutes and you cook.
It's probably why I noticed it so much, because it was so hot. Stopping at the stoplights, you're like, and you're looking at your watch because you're in the heat. The 2 sets of stoplights that we sailed through the quickest were the ones that weren't operating today on Anzac Highway as we were riding back in.
Yes.
So the power was out. Adelaide only has half power. I think that's why they installed those big Tesla batteries.
Yeah, they put Tesla batteries in Adelaide.
I'm not sure, but somebody forgot to connect the terminals, and there was 2 sets of power stoplights out at some busy intersections. Now, being on a bike, I took this sort of initiative of cars don't want to hit bikes. So if you were looking at like you're going to sail through the intersection, cars will back off. Everyone was going very slow. It was very courteous. There was no toots or anything. Yeah. 2 things I did notice though, on both of the intersections, there was road traffic police sitting at both intersections in their cars, watching.
It was hot.
It was hot, but they could have been out with
GoPros waiting for crashes. Dash cams.
Dash cams Australia, mate. The first one, I'm like, okay, you must be waiting. There must be a rule around police not being able to marshal traffic by themselves. They must have to have a buddy or a watch, maybe. I don't know what was going on, but the police he was sitting in the car watching the empty set of lights or the blank set of lights, and I'm like, that was weird. The next one we sailed through, it was a little busier. I've given the cop a little bit of a, mate, WTF, do your job, and he's just given me a bit of a meh.
Nothing I can do.
We didn't speak the same language. There was a bit of glass between us, which is probably a good thing because I'm having a go at him. But it was quite dangerous. Yeah. Anyhow, we sailed through those quite safely and we got back into town.
There was still an excessive amount of pothole, manhole things to navigate around. I did see a koala, and I got a photo of it.
Yes. This is Lama. This is TdU Bingo or Lama Bingo. We had it from
catch up.
Brian. Yeah. So
I didn't get a selfie with Sargon.
Yeah, we missed the selfie with Sargon. My selfie with Sargon video that we put up firstly is currently sitting on 77,000 views on YouTube. So I really appreciate all the views. That one went crazy for some reason. Well, as crazy as the lady that pretty much starred in that, where she grabbed Sargon and ran along and wanted to she wanted his glasses. We're like, calm it down, calm it down.
What an unreasonable request.
Don't touch the Sargi.
Yeah.
The Sargi's, yeah, that was a bizarre. Anyhow, all good. So I missed a selfie with Sargon, but I did get some close-up shots from the start area the other day, which was good. It was really good to see. Slane, did you catch any of the racing at all?
I saw the first crit.
Yes.
I saw...
There's a reason I've asked this.
What else did I see? I stayed in Glenelg, so I saw the start of the Glenelg start.
Stage 3, yep.
I saw something else, but I can't remember where it was.
Now
I went out to Williamstown and saw them do the loops out on that first hot day.
Now, the reason why I asked that question is because it's a commonly known theme that if you go to the Tour Down Under, it's not about the Tour Down Under. It's not about the racing.
It's about my Tour Down Under.
Exactly. Yeah. It's our Tour Down Under. To go over there and just enjoy time on our... Yeah, bikes, they're still there. We're good.
Bikes are still there.
And just catch up with everyone who was there. So I guess...
Very true, but also one of the things that I've been asked by a few of the international riders that were over there, was like, is there normally this number of cyclists in Adelaide? I'm like, no, it's not. And then the second question was like, what about around the rest of Australia? Is it that busy with cyclists?
Beach Road in Melbourne, yeah, it is. Actually, it's even busier.
So even on the back roads everywhere around, there's tons of cyclists. If you went out without spares, you'd be okay to flag someone down.
It was awesome to see. My Lama rides up Norton Summit. There was just people coming. It was just brilliant to be out and about. And I think the drivers knew there was going to be riders on the road. So they were pretty courteous. I had no issues with drivers. Anybody else, Slane?
No, I even had one Uber driver who was like, I'm super stoked there's this many cyclists. I was like, do you want to run them over or not? And he was like, no, I would next week if they were doing it. This week I can live with it.
I only had one issue coming down Norton Summit.
Yeah.
Where there was a car overtaking a bunch of cyclists that were going up. So he decided to do that on a hairpin bend when I was coming down. And I was very conservative on my descent, so I had enough room to move over outside of my lane, even though there was no shoulder for me to move to. So that was good.
Now, excuse me for 1 second. I'm just going to get a nice shot of the sunset here. You might not be able to see it from the camera angle, but I'm going to lean through here. I'll take a shot of the sunset. Oh, that hasn't come out very well at all. It is a beautiful sunset here tonight.
And again.
Actually, I'll take it from video here, and we're going to cut to this shot right now. As the sun sets here across the trees. There we go. That is an absolute magnificent sunset. Super beautiful. Just everything this week is Australia, and we're very proud of it. So we're happy to show it to the rest of the world. Showing it to the rest of the world was kind of funny this week, going out with DC Rainmaker to do the drone testing and tracking of where we were. I said to Ray, it's kind of funny. We just live up to stereotypes for the week. It was 47 degrees in the sun. It was officially 42, 43, but in the sun it's just crazy hot. And it's funny, we bring people over to Australia, they come over to Australia expecting to see koalas, desert, hot weather. There's only probably a little bit of Australia you'll actually see that, especially in the southern parts where we're at South Australia, which is not really south. Anyhow, they got everything. It was stereotypically Australia this week. Bloody hot. Actually, bushfires we drove past just before.
Yep.
No snakes though. So wildlife on the road this week. Von?
I saw dead rats. I saw...
I was hoping for some Australia. Dead rats?
Yeah.
Okay, they probably came over with the first fleet, so we're
Flat
probably
rats.
responsible for those as well. So some flat rats, yeah.
I did see the koala. I stopped and turned around to get a photo of that one, just to prove that I was in Australia.
Yeah.
And when I was swimming in Glenelg Beach, I saw fish. There were fish in the water.
Sharks patrol those waters? Was it a shark?
No.
Okay, that's all right. SLane, what sort of wild animals
Yeah,
did you see?
I just saw seafood. I was swimming in Glenelg. There was like massive crabs like walking around our feet.
Really?
I started floating pretty quick. They were like dinner-sized plate, dinner plate-sized crabs, as in including legs.
Right.
Wow.
And out on the road, no snakes?
Nah, just a lot of
dead things.
Just a lot of cyclists. I didn't see much
lot
wild.
of
There's
kids.
less blue-tongued lizards in Adelaide than there is in Melbourne, I'll say that.
I'll say there's less snakes as well.
I'm at like 150 something count of dead blue tongues in Melbourne since it's been sunny. I don't reckon I saw many when I was in Adelaide.
No, I don't think I saw any either. No.
No, I got no snakes. I saw some deer, echidnas, koalas. It's funny, and I'll tell the story again. Tourists are the ones who spot the koalas.
I saw
Aussies
lots
can't
of
see
mammals.
Mammals in middle-aged men in lycra.
Yeah.
Plenty of those.
What do you reckon of the age demographic as well? We'll talk about this. I think it's an aging demographic for cycling.
I was the youngest person in Adelaide
You-
on a bike.
there wasn't a lot of juniors. I mean, I guess juniors aren't going to drive themselves over to Adelaide and ride around, but probably the 20s, early 20s, we don't usually see a lot of those. I'd have to say the age demographic is 45 and above, primarily. Did you spot that as well?
Yes.
You were with the lady riders as well too, weren't you? So
yeah, there's a wider age demographic in the ladies, I would say.
Yeah.
But I didn't see many in their 20s.
SLane out in the
Unless
hills?
they're weathered.
It can happen.
Yeah, you can break it down into what they wear though.
Okay.
People over 50
Yep.
Yeah.
had booper tops on.
Lots of
jerseys.
Booper is the Grand
If
Fonda
they
they
were
hold during
under 30, they had Rafa, Map or Black Sheep on,
Yes.
or they were in team kit.
Yeah,
That's pretty much three categories you can break everyone
That's
up into.
very good definition. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I saw, and having said that, or having you said that, I saw a lot of Booper jerseys out there. They did cancel the Booper ride this year. 5,000 plus people registered, and no go because Australia, it was too hot.
Too hot.
I don't know. Yeah, that's.
It was the right decision to make.
Now, not for the. Well, a few factors there. The rider safety is a big factor in that. The fit riders could do it, and they can get home, no worries. It's the mid-pack to late-pack riders who may be tackling that distance for the very first time. Absolutely the right decision for those.
It was a very hilly course as well.
Yeah, actually,
Was
it
it
was.
gonna be
Where did
slow.
it go? I didn't even see where
It was
the booper thing
stage
went.
stage 4. The Friday stage 4, was it? Or, yeah.
It's Friday,
Which was
yeah.
the one that went up Norton's Summit where Sagi was spinning.
Oh, really? That one?
Yeah, so to finish up Norton's, I'm not
Your
sure.
Rattler or whatever it was.
Yeah, your Radler. I'm not quite
Yeah.
sure. Even we can't pronounce our own town names. Yeah, interesting call, but also for the emergency services as well. Access to those roads, even though the roads aren't officially closed, and they'd always get access to it. You don't want a fire truck barreling down that with red flags. It's just a nasty thing. So, part of the course, Australia this time of year, that's just what happens. So all during the week, the tour village, which we have done a walkthrough, was open. It opens late, which is a bizarre one. 10:30 or 11:30 opening time. Cyclists are out at 7. We want a coffee by about 7:05, and another one at about 10 when we return from our rides. But the village was closed. I'll say another thing about the village as well, though. It was the same as last year.
It was
All-
actually, wasn't it?
It was cut and paste, the same as last year. We had
Except this year they had those fans, those vapor fan things. They weren't there last year, were they?
Yeah, they were there. Well, I never saw them on.
Those things are awesome.
Yeah, so they're big fans that they have mist throw up and the fan spits the mist. They'd be brilliant indoors, but everything I guess would rust, or probably not good for indoors at home. Good solution though for outdoors where they were. There's a few different indoor cycling technologies being demoed there, but look, I don't get excited about bikes a lot. I definitely don't get excited about a certain Mavic rim. I like the tech, but they just need to do something better with the event village. There was the Look bikes, there was the Mavic. It's just
What are they going to do with it though?
I don't know. I don't have answers, but I hate seeing the same thing over and over
If they
again.
used it
You're
like
not
a
supposed
landing...
to be there. You're supposed to be out riding your bike.
Good
You go
point.
there once and that's it. And
Good
then you go,
point.
same as last year.
But I
then
want
you go ride your
I
bike.
guess it's like going to the circus and expecting to see new animals. It's the same animals, isn't it?
Pretty much.
New tricks, please. New tricks. Well, we did see a few, like we saw Tax were there themselves this year with their own software, Virtua Go were there. We had another feedback to the grid, weird indoor trainer thing happening with kids on it.
They charge your mobile phone.
There was Watt Bike there. Look, the indoor side, or the stationary cycling, I'd call it, because this wasn't indoor, that's taking off and becoming more of a showcase for things, and everyone were holding their little competitions.
Yeah.
On the Carpark Climb, though, speaking of different things, a little bit outside of the village, the Carpark Climb, was calling it the Carpark Crit. Just a brain fart that I have. The Carpark Climb, Von, you went there last night. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it looked like heaps of fun. I was like, oh, I'd love to give this a try personally and see how I would stack up against it. Hopefully not stack. There's quite a few stacks.
Stack up against the wall, that's about it.
Yeah.
Very differing abilities there. We saw some people absolutely rail those corners.
Yeah.
And then some people were tiptoeing and then smashing the climb. There would have to be a tactic to how to do that.
No, it's definitely a technique, I reckon,
Yeah.
because depending on the gradient of each level, so the gradient happens on the side parts, and then at the end,
Flattens on the corner.
it flattens
Yeah.
out. So you can't clip a pedal, like that would be bad. And they also had like big blocks of concrete on the apex of each corner as well. So there were a few oohs and ahs from the crowds when people came pretty close to some of those.
Slane, how would you coach somebody for an event like that? It was about 1 minute to 1:30 long.
Oh, really?
With repeated accelerations. How would you coach someone? Would you just replicate that on a trainer? How would you do that?
Find a car park, I suppose.
I reckon you'd have to, because you have to try and keep the speed through the corner and then punch up the next incline each time.
Would it be two things, Slane? So both power and technique? What would you work on?
Yeah, it'd be like equipment as well, like short cranks.
Oh, okay, didn't think of it.
Sooner you get on the pedals out of the corner and stuff, but they're going around on fixies and they'll pedaling the whole way round, so
yeah,
you can't tip that too far.
I don't know, I didn't see them, but I'm sure there's mostly technique and repeated sprint, I suppose.
I'd love to see these become a thing. The atmosphere was great.
I want to see him come down it.
Well, there we go. Put a U-turn at the top and come down. That would be phenomenal. They probably couldn't go 2 up for that because they do start them off 2 by 2.
Yes.
We saw some brilliant overtaking moves and it was edge of the seat stuff. But again, hats off to V2 and everyone behind that from a spectator point of view, because we could walk all the way up without a problem. We've been to ones before where you couldn't walk up the whole way, but that was just a brilliant night out. Another I guess, comment around that is we didn't know who won. We had to search for the information about who won and what categories and had to look it up on race results.
We didn't stay to watch.
Well, the podiums were way upstairs in the hot area. That was kind of weird, but I guess it didn't matter either. I mean, it was nice to know, as competitors, we want to know who wins, but
the spectacle was
enough. The spectacle was exactly there, and I threw away 50 minutes of footage for that video that I took because I took one camera non-stop the whole way and the whole night, and this camera that you're watching on this one here, that was just B-roll that I was throwing the camera around, and that worked even better. Okay. So that's the one that I used. So we had a great time. Lots of good people.
Yeah.
And a good way to wrap up the event. So that's about it. I guess we'll have a few other little videos coming through. There's a couple of little rides that I collected as well over there that I might put up on the channel throughout the week. Slane, anything else to add for the week?
No, I don't know if I had a highlight of the week. I can't remember. If I did, it would have been the race on the Sunday that I did with the old Vets boys. That was kind of fun.
Oh,
it was just the biggest, epicest day I've ever had, I think.
Tell us a bit about that. What were your numbers? There was also veterans racing on, so 35 and above age group racing.
I rode 40k out to McLaren Vale, out near there where the race was. I didn't really know where I was going, so I was like a little bit anxious, and I just went way too fast. So I was like already at 250 watts average by the time I got there.
Good warm up.
On the website, it said it was going to be 59 kilometres and 2 laps, and then right on the start line, old mate says it's a 90-something kilometre race, and I'm just like, I've got 1 bottle of water and 1 gel in my pocket. Yay!
Hot day too? Or this was before
5 minutes into the race, I'm up the road with one other guy already, and then I'm like, this isn't going to end well. And it didn't end too bad. I survived it, but by the time I got home, I had like 360 TSS and 185 Ks or something.
And any envelopes in your pocket from the racing?
Well, yeah, I got caught, but luckily I I went in the chop with the guy who won. I let him out, and at least I got some money in my pocket.
Aha,
And
okay.
true to veterans racing, did they put a lunch spread on?
Yeah.
So you managed to refuel before heading back?
There was sandwiches. Well, that's what I was waiting for after the race. That's why I only had one gel, because I knew they'd have heaps of food. There was no lamingtons like they normally
To
have.
explain to people what the chop is, if you're not aware of the chop in the racing terms, it's you form an allegiance or alliance with
the guy you think's gonna win.
Correct. If you can't win the race, you're the guy who tries to instigate the chop. If you're going to win the race, you don't agree to any
He
chop.
instigated it with me, actually. He must have been worried that I was going to win.
Aha. See, it's a mind game. It's a game of chess to know. So what that is if you're not going to win, you try and get something out of the race, or try and contribute to somebody who is going to win. They'll pay you back. It'll be either in half or and it's simply. If you know, it depends who you know, and depends on the racing scene. It's like in the chop, it's like yep, or you all agree, and then we're all good. If not, it can get a bit nasty, or people just ignore the terms and then you just go off for the win. It's a race within a race, and it's some chess games that you'll never know about or you'll never see on television. I guess these backyard races or these back block races, it happens. But hey, look, everyone's happy. SLane, you walked away with some cash and a ton of food there, because the vets put on the best spreads, as Von was saying. Just lamingtons, even the Ballarat vets that we race with put on I think there was fairy bread there the other week. I'd never say no to some fairy bread.
Yum.
Nah, good stuff. Okay, Von, we'll have to pick one highlight each for the week. Yourself. On the spot.
On the spot, I'm going to go with the Rafa women's ride that went out the Gorge Road, up Corkscrew, did an extra 5-10 k's of hills, and finished back at the pop-up with champagne and pastries.
And the most famous rider, or a famous rider on that ride?
I rode with Tiffany Cromwell for the day. It was fantastic.
Awesome, good stuff. SLane, so your number one, SLane, was your big day on the bike?
Yeah, I think the other one though was watching young mate Ollie Jones, one of my young guys, race the Zwift race against the other boys.
So the final Zwift event, the official Zwift event at the Rafa pop-up, was a one-lap flat-out, all-in, go, as hard as you can race for the men's pro race, I guess you'd call it. One lap of Watopia. Now, these guys, and Ollie especially, who's won the Zwift Academy this year for men's, is now going to be a pro Conti rider for Didata.
Non-development team.
Development team. Whatever, I'm not quite up with the terminology, but SLane's coached him up. Absolute monster. He took off flat out and kept going flat out up the wall, up the Watopia wall, a 129 halfway through a lap, or in the start of a lap, and continued on at 430, 440 watts for the rest of the lap.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was more than that. Like, he was just sitting on.
He beat everybody by a minute.
Watts. He won by a minute or something.
A minute in a
I just love how
11-minute
everyone
race.
questions it, going, "Oh, it's not reading right." And I'm like,
Nah.
I'm pretty sure it is.
The kid's legit. I watched him from behind, and I mean, it's kind of weird. You can see a cyclist's physique. He's a tall kid. What is he, 6'1"? 6?
Yeah, somewhere around
Well, he's
there.
taller than me, so he's obviously over 5'11" or 5'10". He's very skinny body, legs and ass like a true racehorse. I hope it'll go well. He'll be a good windbreak anyway. If nothing else in the pro peloton, so hopefully the kid goes far. But to watch that lap was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. My highlight this week was off the bike. Not even at the Tour Down Under. It was the popularity of YouTube during the week. Not only for myself, and the subscribers have gone through the roof. The views have gone to nearly 50,000 views a day. But it was everybody's content just during the week, watching that. So DC Rainmaker, who I spent quite a few days with Ray, working on content and hanging out, just doing our tech things. It was kind of cool to nerd out with Ray. Our videos have done really well. Francis Cade was over there as well, covering that. We saw Maeve, he was there as well, covering that. And a few other young'uns that were over there. M Rides Bikes was there as well, just pointing the camera around and just... So my highlight was probably YouTube. And what YouTube now does, and it gives people access to see about the race that they can never come to. I mean, Australia is a long way away. So that's awesome to see that technology being used, but I think it's only at 50%. I think there can be so much more done with it, so much more live content, faster content, and just really getting people in there and enjoying what's going on to motivate them to get out and ride a bike.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. All right, we'll leave it there. Again, a few things may trickle through from the footage we've got from over there. I've got some travel coming up, so I'm not sure we'll be banging out the content like we have been in the last few days, but hopefully I'll be banging out some runs and rides and some more stuff. Von, thanks for coming along. Thanks for driving. SLane, thanks for hanging out.
Thank you.
And good job on training Ollie. I want to get to those watts. We'll have to talk to SLane about some training plans.
Well, no, he's with Data now, so I can't claim him as my own. I'm his old coach now, sadly.
He got into where he is, and that's what counts. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.